Greetings, programs, and welcome back to ArcNeo Reviews, where today we're going to do a little bit of a double feature. We're actually going to look at both versions of Cyberverse. I believe these were Commander class Starscream. So we have the normal Transformers Prime version and the Beast Hunters version. And these are, these are just simple remolds of, the same figures, so go ahead, kind of get my, get some comparisons out of the way so you can see, the figures, see how they stack up on against each other, what they look like compared to each other. And, I'm going to do all my, I'm going to do the transformation with this guy. So, really quick, going to get, the Beast Hunters version out of the way. And this guy did actually come with accessories. He came with these very weird, clear... I don't even know what these are supposed to be, really, but there is a missile molded on the outside. So you can go ahead, there are pegs under his wings, and these are molded as mirrors of each other. Worth mentioning, so I like to make sure that the missiles go on the outside. It looks very weird, like a jet with cattle prods under it, which I'm sure would be, very, very useful in some way, but either way, kind of cool. And yes, there is an accessory for the Beast Hunters guy too. We'll look at that later. But transforming this guy is very easy, but actually really cool for what it is. So, you're going to start by taking these little wings, folding them forward, and then the feet actually are just resting over these little pegs that are sticking out. So you just kind of work the foot, twist it and turn it. As you can see, there's a peg hole in there. Get off of that peg right there. Just straighten the leg out. Same on the other side. Then you're going to take this tail fin, which, worth mentioning, is that rubber, like rubbery plastic they used to use a lot in this time. So be careful with this as it's starting to age and perish, sadly. But you're just going to take that, turn it around, and it will lock in place, facing the other way. Come up here to the nose of the plane, and bring it up and forward on its double hinge right there. You're going to start bringing this up. Get the legs back down where they go. Fold the wings up like that, along what's about to be the back. Split the nose of the plane. Bring it down on the sides to form his arms. Rotate up the head. And then finish pushing the tail fin into place, if it hasn't already just popped into place on its own. And there you have Starscream in robot mode. And not only is this, probably one of the cooler designs ever made for Starscream, this is actually a really good figure of this design as well. He does have a little bit of backpack, obviously, which I do appreciate. It's actually just fins. He doesn't have, piles of stuff to weigh him down. He just has a couple fins on his back. So he does actually stand fairly easily. With my uneven surface here, I don't know if I'll be able to show that off well, but he does stand pretty well. Bring him in up close here so you can see if I can get it to focus. He does have a really good head mold. Really well painted, even. Little tiny Decepticon insignia on his chest. There's a lot of clear red in his torso, which it actually really pops when the light hits it right. I do have to give props for that. A lot of little small molded intricacies, even for something this tiny. So, posability-wise, not really anything at the head unless you just want to, untransform it. Ball joint the shoulder, so you get full rotation and outward movement. You also do have that, the transformation hinge right there if you want to use that to get a little more shoulder range out of him, so he can put his arms up higher. Clearly you will have to move the wings back like I didn't, because I am a moron and I forget things. Double hinge right there from his transformation, so he does end up with a lot of arm range, which is always nice. You also get a little bit of rotation from that ball joint there, which again, really nice. Ball jointed hips, so you can kick out that far, forward all the way, back all the way. He does also have full knee articulation, as well as he has twistable feet. And his feet are molded at a slight angle, so that foot twist actually does really help with getting him to stand. Now, if you want, he does have 2 new ports for his weapons, so you can either put them into his forearms right here, again, if it will stay focused, which will let you have a little more of that classic, null ray thing going on, or you can actually put it in his hand if you want, and they're weird, but they're kind of cool. So, really quick, I'll go ahead, get this guy out of the way, and get to the Beast Hunters version of him. Alright, and here we have the Beast Hunters version. Like I said, big shock. As you can see, quite a bit of remolding to make him look different. Very few directly shared parts, funny enough. I think the thighs and feet are probably the only thing that's just directly copied between these two figures, as well as the mold for the tail fin, which on this one it's a darker gray, so you can actually see kind of that just dusty look that this rubber gets when it starts to give up. Has bummer. I kind of wish I knew a way to restore that stuff and keep it from failing more, but what are you gonna do about it? So, as you can see, different head sculpt, which I do really like this version of his head. It gets almost a pterosaur, predator, bird, kind of look going to it. Decepticon symbol up there. He gets an extra weapon port right there in the middle of his chest for use in the jet mode. And the one thing worth mentioning, the only difference on him, remember how this guy had, that little peg sticking up out of his back right there that this sat onto? Here, he just has a little hole all the way back here, and both of his arms have a tab right there. So that's the only difference in transformation. The cockpit pegs in a slightly different place. And for this guy's weapon, he actually has this weird capture claw thing, which isn't too dissimilar from what the deluxe class version of Beast Hunter Starscream had, though in function it's quite a bit different. You'll see, especially when I get around to that figure, but this one is actually a friction missile that just pings out like 3 inches away. I'm not even kidding. That was like 3 inches. The camera made it look farther than it really was. Sometimes it doesn't even get out at the end of the barrel. But you can go ahead, again, put it in his hand, put it on his arm. He does still have the wing points. And when he's in jet mode, you can just go ahead and plug it right there. So, the weapon is weird on both of them, kind of weak. But in terms of just being small representations of the Transformers Prime version of Starscream, these guys both actually nail the look really well. And they're definitely worth picking up if you can find them for a decent price. They can be a tiny bit tricky to stand just because of how small the feet are, but they're worth putting the effort in, and I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to make a base or something that they could, stand on, because again, they do have, a standard size peg hole in their foot. You just need a slightly longer peg is all. But definitely worth looking for if you can. I would actually recommend don't really worry about finding them complete. These weapons kind of suck, but the figures themselves are actually really cool. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.